Here I'm going to show you how I do a sheet mulching and no-till garden. So here's part of my lawn, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to cover this. I've kind of trampled it down, not really worried too much about it. And first thing I do is cover it with, now this is wrapping paper I got from ordering things online. You know, you get a box and it's got this stuff in there to stop it from rattling. So I save all that. I save all my bags and newspapers. Can't see stars, you know.
Good for some.
Yeah, and they use soybean ink in it, so you don't have to worry about the toxicity of the ink.
What if they have color? Can you use any colored pages or just?
Yeah, I use the colored pages in the pathways.
Okay.
And I make it, usually the newspaper is about 8 layers thick, 8 pages thick, and you have to overlap them very well, you know. You can't just put them next to each other. You have to tie, put a third like that, because weeds will come up through there. They'll try to find the light, so you have to give them a long path. Because what you're trying to do is cut out the sunlight to the weeds so they die. Or, well, whatever's under the grass. And
how do you hold the
He's getting to that.
well,
newspapers?
yeah. Next, we put the compost on it, the mulch. So you see, I've thrown a little bit, because this is kind of windy day, so I've thrown a few shovels fulls on there.
And we water ours down.
Yes, and another thing you can do is have a bucket of water and put your newspapers in there. Get them wet, then they won't blow around. Sometimes it gets hard to separate them though if you leave them in there too long, because they start getting mushy. So
Oh no, what we do is we lay and spray.
yeah, okay, that's another way.
I mean, from the watering can.
So here you see I've got pretty much halfway covered. I'm putting 3 inches on this here. Now this is the same, compost from the Kansas City site. So I've got all the mulch on there. So how am I going to plant something in this? So what I do is I push aside the mulch, and you can see the paper there, and I put a growing medium up, soil, or very finished compost. And I make it at least 3 inches thick, probably even a little bit thicker. Here's some more. I call these squash pockets because I'm going to plant squash there. You can barely see it there, but there's a couple squash plants coming up there. And I have deer problems, so I have to put wire fencing and stuff over my areas to keep the dang deer from eating everything. Here's some echinacea growing in my front yard. It has that deep root system. It's a native perennial. It's one of the types of things that we need to grow around here. And here's another beneficial helper in the garden, bees. This is bees in the crack in my locust tree in my front yard. So it's another reason not to be spraying poison all over the place, because you kill the good insects along with the bad ones. Here's some other beneficial insects we want in our gardens.
Steve, the method that you just explained there, it consists of simply a layer of sheet and 1 layer of mulch. That's it.
Yeah.
And you're able to.
You plant it.
3 inches.
And then wherever you're planting, you clear away and build that up with something else, more soil or finished compost.
And you could also dig through that and plant a tomato plant right in the soil there.
Sure, we do that, but
can you do seeds that way? I mean, it seems to me like, how do you?
You have to, if you're going to use
seeds.
Yeah, if you're going to.
This don't really work, does it?
It's hard, and I'll get to that in a minute. You have to have it thick enough so that it holds the moisture, so that the seeds will germinate.
So you're talking about really more about seeds, the plants that are starts already, or you're actually talking about putting seeds in there?
I'll get to that in a minute. or I can do it right now. The best time to do this sheet mulching and this no-till is now.
Right.
If you was to cover your lawn, let's say you were gonna eradicate a lawn,
Yep.
your front lawn. So you do the sheet mulching, you're gonna put 12 inches on now, this time of year. And you can use leaves, put straw or compost, but you want 12 inches. And what that's gonna do is it's going to keep the light from getting to that lawn or whatever's under there. And by spring, it'll be killed off. Then, in the spring, you pull it aside and you can plant right in the soil for your carrots and for your lettuce seeds.
You put in a row, you do a row planting?
You could. I don't really like rows anymore because when I look out at Mother Nature, I don't see too many straight lines out there anymore. So,
Well, what about our sweet corn? Okay.
I would plant sweet corn in hills like the Native Americans did. They used the three sisters method. They plant corn, beans, and squash together because those three plants are what we call a guild. They help each other.
Mr. Taylor wants to plant them.
Trinity.
Well, I do use some. I use rows, but I'm always
Do you like Shirley's better?
have furrowed brows when I do it, because.
I don't know. I like straight rows too.
So, some people are very orderly. I'm kind of disorderly, so
Yeah. I can't draw a straight line.
there you go. And you don't like string hanging around in your garden, right?
Some people don't like their food touching each other on the plate.
Yeah. The soldier beetle here in the corner, if you plant buckwheat, they love it. So they're going to come and they're going to eat lots of aphids. They're going to be eating all kinds of stuff. The ground beetle there, they will eat squash bugs and other stuff. Big-eyed bug. They live in
The right bug.
yeah, the right bugs. And you can help these insects have a place to live by putting piles of rocks in your garden and keeping them moist. And also toads like to live in there, and toads are great to have in your garden. Lizards, toads.
But do you want snakes?
Snakes are good, They eat rats. I just talked to
We've got at least one in the Rainbow Community Garden, so.
yeah, I talked to somebody yesterday that has an urban garden. They grew a lot of sweet potatoes, and they said the rats were digging them up and eating them.
Oh.
I need cats at that point.
Purposes?
That's what I told her. This is over 23rd and Angus in Kansas City, Missouri.
Agnes.
Well, yeah, I can understand that, yeah.
Yeah. I think that'd be pretty tough to dig. I mean, I don't know
You'll be
how good
surprised.
the rats
They're pretty
dig.
good at
Okay.
You can get more information on these biological controls, is what we call these beneficial insects, at ATTRA. It's part of the Department of Agriculture, but it's for sustainable agriculture. ATTRA.NCAT.org. I think it's in our handout here. It keeps jumping out of gear here. This is what you get for your effort, beauty in your garden, living things around you. And that's all for the slide. Now is the question and answers session.